Hey guys, this is Beyond Waking Realm, and today I want to talk about Elizabeth. Now, I try to set up the best theme, and that's when we first see her in her cage, her in the Monument Island. But unfortunately, Songbird would not allow me to take a breather and wouldn't leave me alone. So here we go. We're going to talk about Elizabeth, not as a character defined by her powers, but as someone defined by what those powers cost her. Elizabeth's story doesn't end when BioShock Infinite does. It continues, and fractures, in Burial at Sea. Across those chapters, we don't just watch Elizabeth change, we watch her age. Not in years, but in understanding. This isn't a recap of her story, this is a reflection on how innocence becomes certainty, how certainty becomes cruelty, and how guilt finally becomes atonement. Because Elizabeth doesn't lose herself all at once, she loses herself in stages. When we first meet Elizabeth, she exists in a suspended state, emotionally and psychologically. She's intelligent, curious, observant, but she's untested. Her tower doesn't just isolate her from the world, it isolates her from consequence. Elizabeth knows stories, but not outcomes, ideas, but not cost. She wants to leave not because she understands freedom, but because something inside her senses incompleteness. This version of Elizabeth is not naive. She's uninitiated, and initiation always comes with loss. Elizabeth's true transformation doesn't begin with her escape. It begins when the world refuses to stay gentle. Violence stops being abstract. Suffering stops being distant. Choice stops being hypothetical. Elizabeth doesn't awaken through power. She awakens through exposure. And once she understands that belief creates systems, that systems create victims, and that neutrality is impossible, she changes, not outwardly, not outwardly at first. I was about to say outwardly, anyway. But internally, something closes. This is Elizabeth's first psychological death. Death of believing that knowledge can remain harmless. By the time we see Elizabeth in Burial at Sea, Episode 1, she is no longer becoming someone. She believes she already has. This Elizabeth is colder, sharper, controlled. She has seen too many realities, too many outcomes, too many failures, and from that knowledge she draws a dangerous conclusion. That ends justify means. Elizabeth doesn't hesitate anymore, because hesitation feels irresponsible. She orchestrates events, manipulates people, plans the death of Booker and Rapture, not out of hatred, but out of certainty. This is what Elizabeth becomes when compassion is overtaken by inevitability. She is not cruel because she doesn't care. She is cruel because she believes she must be. Burial at Sea Episode 2 is not about Elizabeth fixing the world. It's about her realizing she was wrong. Elizabeth learns, too late, that certainty is not wisdom. That seeing everything does not grant moral authority. That removing choice from others, even for good reasons, makes you indistinguishable from the systems you oppose. This is Elizabeth's second death, the death of believing that knowing more makes you right. And unlike her earlier awakening, this one comes with grief. Elizabeth doesn't get redemption. She gets responsibility. She chooses to help, not by controlling outcomes, but by enabling choice. She does not stop Fontaine. She does not save the world directly. Instead, she arranges something smaller and more human. A child. A possibility. She gives up her power not to reset the timeline, but to allow someone else to act freely within it. This is Elizabeth's final transformation, from architect to guardian, from certainty to faith in others. Elizabeth's story reframes the entire BioShock series, not as a story about control, but about restraint. She learns that power without humility becomes tyranny. That knowledge without empathy becomes cruelty. That trying to solve humanity is the greatest mistake of all. Elizabeth doesn't save Rapture. She makes it possible for someone else too. And in doing so, she accepts something Booker and Comstock never could. That you don't get to decide the future. Only whether you respect it. Elizabeth matters because she represents the full cost of awareness. She shows us that growing up isn't about strength. It's about learning when not to use it. That certainty is seductive. That control feels efficient. And that choosing compassion, knowing it may fail, is the hardest choice of all. Elizabeth doesn't walk away innocent. She walks away accountable. And sometimes that's the only thing that means anything. If this reflection resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, especially how you interpret Elizabeth's arc across BioShock Infinite and Burial at Sea. And if you're enjoying these narrative dives, consider sticking around. Here, we explore stories not just as games, but as mirrors. Thank you for spending this time with me.